You want to take it when you're feeling something. You want to take it when you're under stress, kind of proactively. Like, what's the best
You want
use
to
of it?
take Propolis every single day. And then if you feel something coming down, if you're going to be traveling, you just double up. There's over 300 beneficial properties in Propolis itself. It does everything from supporting our immune system to helping to support our digestive tract. It's a prebiotic. It actually can strengthen the tinctures in the digestive wall. So it helps to
I didn't know
completely heal leaky gut.
Welcome to Super Life with me, Darren Oline, a podcast where we explore, discover, and share solutions that promote a healthier life and a better world. Together, we'll ignite possibilities, inspire change, and build sovereignty, creating a roadmap towards a super life for you and for all. Get ready to start living your super life. Carly, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be back.
I'm so stoked. And I was looking back at our last episode, and it was 2022, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, there's so
while.
much has changed with you.
Yeah.
And Beekeepers is cranking, still creating some more stuff, new stuff.
Always new stuff.
You have a little baby, so congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
You also said before we filmed, you had some challenges with buying a new house and mold and everything else. And you know, that also, by the way, there's probably not a house that's built that doesn't have mold because and now, you know, I'm rebuilding and I'm going through all the material science of everything. And it's a tricky thing. And then, because that's a massive fatal convenience, right? Because our air quality, the way what's in our house is sometimes up to 10 times more dangerous than outside.
It's so wild. I think there are so many exposures today. You can do your best to lead a perfect lifestyle, and you're going to be exposed to microplastics. You're going to be exposed to mold. You're going to be exposed to so much toxicity. And so I think it's more important than ever to take the steps to protect your body, to introduce the things that are going to support your system and help to prevent the damage. Because we don't really know, we're starting to know, but we don't really know what these things are doing to us. And I think there's a lot of big industry that is, you know, strategically making the information really convoluted. And I think everyone just kind of has to take their health, sadly, the state of affairs today, everyone has to really be taking their health into their own hands and introducing the things that they can to protect their body and do their best in their environment to make it safe.
Yeah, and I think you said that perfectly. And that's if we've gotten lazy with that, and the sense that we can just walk down any aisle, buy any supplement, buy any food, and with the delusion thinking that someone has tested it, someone has deemed it safe, some regulatory body has certified it. It just simply doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't.
You know, it has the title of these things, but it doesn't. And to your point, there's a stay away, right? So we need to stay away from the exposures.
Yep.
And at the same time, fortify with nature again. And we've gotten so far away from nature that, you know, the novelty of taking off your shoes and putting your feet on the ground is like, oh, that's a biohack. It's like, wow, it's so weirdly twisted.
Or having sun on your face early in the day, like these things that are just like
circadian rhythm.
Normal.
Yeah. Well, and also, you know, not to jump in so fast, but to jump in so fast. So the ancient medicines, the things that are been around us way more than lab coats.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know?
I mean, first recorded human use of propolis, 300 BC. The bees are prehistoric. Like, the bees know how to survive. They've been around since the dinosaurs.
Right. And they're getting, you know, beat up.
They are.
Quite a bit.
Endless bee puns.
Right. It's just I mean, how's, you know, your working environment's got to be constant.
Nonstop. Nonstop. Yeah.
What's the best so far? What were some of the best? Not to go off topic, but to go on topic. What's some of the best?
I mean, almost every day someone does something with the word buzz to me.
Right.
Almost every day. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you're probably getting like DMs and then things forwarded to you
Every
all the
pun
time.
in existence.
You're the bee queen for sure. So
Yes.
you're gonna be
It's a heavy responsibility to be master of all these puns.
yeah. So back to the environment, man, because we're gonna jump around with this conversation. We're gonna go to individual sovereignty, which I love, obviously, and at the same time environmental and the world kind of understanding of what's going on with so much of this stuff. And the enlightenment of our first conversation was that, and I was also seeing that in the almond industry and how gnarly it is, and they're you're taking a monocrop, you're shipping bees across the country. Many are dying. There's no clean anything anymore in that process, just to propagate a crop and to have almond butter on your, toast, right? So, but the way you also view, let's go big and then we'll come back down. So your view of being a conscious beekeeper and then promoting that kind of ethos, because it doesn't take long to realize that there is threats that the bees have never experienced through recorded time.
That we have never experienced. We don't know the long-term effects of neonicotinoids on our system. We don't know. So yes, to start big, the thing that I think I'm the most proud of is what we've been able to do to the beekeeping industry. The fact that we've been able to create this kind of regenerative network. And it's so interesting because the wellness industry, it's wellness, but it's industry. And so there's a lot of greenwashing. There's a lot of companies that start off with a beautiful mission, but in order to scale, they have to make a lot of sacrifices. And from day one, that has been just a non-starter for my team and I. And we've been able to build this company in a manner where we're actually supporting the bees. We've created a market. We've created demand for sustainable bee products. And what does sustainable bee products mean? Because there is no, certification. It means pesticide-free beekeeping. And there are so many factors today, urbanization, just the change in environment, all of these things that are affecting the bees. But the number one thing that humans are doing to the bees. When I say we, I mean humans, not us personally. We're trying to fight this, but it's exposing them to poison, neonicotinoids. Neonicotinoids, it's the most widely used class of pesticides in the US. So first of all, for us, we really don't know the long-term effects, but it is covering our produce. It's oftentimes sprayed on sides of roads. People who are not sure what's happening with their gardening situation. It could be covering their front lawns, and then their pets and their kids are going out there to play. So neonicotinoids are problematic for us, but we know for sure that they are incredibly harmful to the bees. And the bees are going out and pollinating all these crops that are covered in neonicotinoids, and then they're going back to their hive and they're producing their beautiful bee products with traces of neonicotinoids. And that's very harmful for humans, but it's also killing the bees. So the first thing that we've done at Beekeepers Naturals is we've created a pesticide-free commitment. So that means our bees are not exposed to pesticides. We are testing all of our batches of raw product before our propolis gets put in this bottle. It is being tested for every pesticide, toxin, and pollutant in accordance with Health Canada, which is more rigorous than the US. I'm Canadian, so when I was comparing the two structures there, I was like, we also do a lot in accordance with EU standards just to create a standard, but those are kind of what we're looking at in terms of standards, but really there's not good standards for these things. But anyways, it's been really cool because we're working in these super remote locations, these beautiful apiaries where there's the variance in crop type. They're far away from the kind of mass agriculture structure that's covered in pesticides, and they're pesticide-free. And what we've seen when we're creating this beautiful environment for the bees thrive. So contrary to population trends, the bees that we work with at our company in our supply chain are thriving. And we're able to make a really pure, clean, amazing product that we can stand by. But more than that, we're able to, as this company grows, as we scale, even though scale is usually synonymous with some kind of shortcut, as we scale, we're able to have a bigger impact, a broader impact, and create more clean area for bees.
Right. So, I mean, that's, having worked with companies before in many different ways, it's certainly, because those regulation bodies don't really have regulation per se, nor do they have kind of the standardization that, especially you coming from literally a beekeeping background, intimately knowing, what it takes for them to thrive and survive. And so your standardization, and that's where I think the ethics of every entrepreneur doing almost anything, especially around food and supplements and things like that, you have to kind of ethically make your own standardization rather than offloading it on some, eco-washing kind of situation. So that's what I love about, and so you can confidently say, by the way you're treating your beekeepers and your bees and the lands at which they're coming from, that's actually promoting the healthy population of bees, which is why, we can do this if we kind of, stop with the profit-centered model, which is just thrown in our face all the time, to your point. By scaling or by selling to a big company, it's always some sort of loss of morality and stick a bunch of money in your pocket. So that's what I love about this stuff and about your company, in the sense that you can do something great and you don't compromise. And the thing that is so powerful about that is when you follow, and this, I don't mean to sound cliche here, but when you follow nature, and how much more following of nature is like the bees, right? It's like when you follow nature and follow what they need, not only do you create more, you're within the flow of abundance, because nature is abundant by its literal nature, right? And so why wouldn't we, like you're doing, why wouldn't you put a business model on top of nature, right? And follow that. And that's what I love about your example. And how long have you been in business now, and is there numbers that you can kind of get your head around in terms of how many bees and how many expansions you've done?
Millions and millions. So some of our apiaries, just to kind of give you an example of where we're working, we're doing a ton of work in Brazil. Brazil is super innovative when it comes to propolis. It's very much a part of the medical system there. And so they're just advanced in terms of their awareness of how to use propolis. The studies coming out of Brazil right now are really cool. There's trials looking at propolis and its potential ability to shrink tumors, like all kinds of stuff. So we do a lot of work in Brazil. We do a ton of work in Spain. I think this year's batch of pollen is almost exclusively from Spain. We're doing a little bit of work in the Ukraine, some parts of Asia that meet our criterion in terms of pesticide-free and in terms of like being super rural, not around a hyperpopulated area. But we do a ton of work in Europe, a little bit in Canada, not a ton, but a ton of work in Europe. Peru, we're doing some work, Argentina. So what we do is we're scouring the globe, looking for beekeepers and really land masses that fit our profile. And what that means is it super remote? If they are doing monocropping, are they doing at least 30% margin planting? So there's variance. And is it a pesticide-free area? And then we also look at the local geography. And, I like Europe because they've banned in a lot of parts neonicotinoids. So is there some kind of government mandate to change the chemicals that are introduced? So those are the things we're looking at. And then when we find that, we'll zero in and we'll say, okay, we need to find some local beekeepers. We'll find we'll talk to a bunch of beekeepers and find the beekeepers who are interested in the sustainable side, in practicing regenerative beekeeping, in harvesting our propolis, in using my method. I shouldn't say my method. There are so many beekeepers doing this. It's just a method that I believe is the most sustainable. But we'll find partners. And then what's been really cool, a lot of the partners we've found, some of them started with, 50 hives, 100 hives. This is back in 2017 when I was also beekeeping. And, we were working with people who had really small operations. And some of these individuals have been able to go from 50, 100 hives to multi, hundreds and hundreds of hives and really expand their operation alongside ours. So that's been really cool to find these people who are kind of like considered maybe fringe hippy-dippy beekeepers and grow a business alongside them and be their number one client and expand together. And it's been this beautiful thing of having true impact. And something that I just want to call out, the reason that we've been able to do this so impactfully, it's because of our customers. Our customers won't take shit. They need to use products that are third-party tested. A lot of our customers, the group of people that championed this company in the beginning, it was people struggling with chronic Lyme or, all of these different hard to treat ailments. And they really used propolis and royal jelly and pollen and super clean honey to change their health condition. And those people can't mess around. So we've been championed by this group that demand the best, and it's forced us to hold ourselves to a really high standard. And as we've expanded the company, as we've taken investment, there have been so many pushes to do something more efficiently or increase profit center by doing this. And I've been able to not just say no because of my personal beliefs and my team's beliefs, but I've been able to make the argument of like, hey, our customers won't buy it. This is our mission statement. Check this out. We can't diverge from that. So sorry, guys. And I think, just for any entrepreneurs listening to structure your company in that way, putting the well-being of others at the center of it, it forces accountability.
Right. Yeah. And that's what, again, you're investing in the right thing to do, and you're reinvesting into the mission of your base people and really yourself. With your past and with your desire to do this, right? So because of your conditions and your struggle in the beginning. And that's what I love about it, because it's again, I don't know why, because I've been in this, I love this, hearing the stories about supporting the indigenous people all over the place. And I haven't met, they're farmers, they're bee farmers, right? So I haven't met a person in the far off lands that didn't want to stay on their land and continue to do what they've been doing for generations. And so to give that opportunity, especially in far off places, it's such a gift to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because I've met and gotten to know many people along my journey too. And when you're able to do that, it's a fuel that fuels you, and you can, tell your story to your own employees for them to know. It's harder to really share that, but in terms of the customers, because everyone flippantly says it, but when you literally are helping people do their thing and getting great products and the customers winning, it's that model that is fortified in doing good. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I love that. Let's talk a little bit about propolis and all of them. But propolis is interesting, right? It's kind of that ancient, maybe first known ever antibacterial, fungal, all of that stuff.
It's literally what people were using to treat disease. It's what people were using before the advent of antibiotics. And what propolis is, because everyone hears about these different bee products and thinks like, oh, it's a honey derivative or it comes from honey. No. Honey's amazing. Right. But propolis is something totally different. And just as a little refresher for everyone, propolis, it is literally the immunoproperties of the plant itself combined with bee enzymes to create this super protective barrier. And so the bees are literally collecting plant and tree resin. So think of like sap and combining it with their enzymes, and they use it to seal every crack in the hive. It is literally the barrier protecting them from pathogens, bacteria, insulating them. And propolis, you can almost think of it as doing the same thing for the human body. I take propolis to protect me from mold, smoke. I need to tell you about what I was exposed to during my pregnancy, by the way, because that was just a nightmare. But thank God my daughter is wonderful. But I also credit, the routine and just my awareness there. But that's another story for probably a couple minutes from now. But anyway, so we're exposed to so much. And propolis you can think of as the sealant that's helping to protect our body from all of this environmental stress and damage. Propolis protects the bees from everything they're exposed to. A hive without propolis would die. Bees are constantly creating new propolis, but it's so ancient and ancestral. It's the immunoproperties of the plant, the bees' enzymes combined together to create a super protective substance that helps to protect us from viruses, bacteria, inflammation, oxidative stress, all of these things that are causing so much harm to our body.
Yeah, it's like the immune system of the hive itself.
Yeah,
right?
it literally is.
Yeah. So what's the best? Is propolis something to where you want to take it when similar to, an antibiotic-ish kind of thing? You want to take it when you're feeling something? You want to take it when you're under stress, kind of proactively? Like, what's the best?
You want to take propolis every single day. And then if you feel something coming down, if you're going to be traveling, you just double up. It's a very clean, simple but complex compound. There's over 300 beneficial properties in propolis itself. It does everything from supporting our immune system to helping to support our digestive tract. It's a prebiotic. It actually can strengthen the tinctures in the digestive wall. So it helps to completely heal leaky gut.
Oh my God.
Yeah, really
That's
important
such a
for leaky
problem.
gut, which is so prevalent.
Right.
It contains so many different bioactives. It contains pinosembrin, which acts as a fungicide and can combat candida. It contains apigenin, quercetin. There are so many incredible compounds within propolis because, again, it's coming from the immunoproperties of the plant and the bees combined together to create this super protective, nourishing substance. So how I do it, I take 4 sprays of my propolis every single day. And then if I'm traveling, if I'm feeling run down, if I do feel like something's coming on, I just double up. And then I'm also taking so much more propolis because I use every single one of my products, maybe not the cough syrup, maybe that one I'll use a little more reactively. But for the most part, I am using all of my products every single day. Like there's not something we make that I'm not using.
Well, it's always good when you can build a company around something that you just want to like consume like crazy yourself, right? That's always the best.
It's very helpful.
Yeah. It's like at least I've taken care of myself for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. The propolis kind of, because sometimes from adaptogens to certain fungal mushrooms, there's some times where you need to take breaks on things, but adaptogens you don't. They're deemed safe. So in this case, there's no need to take breaks from the use of it.
Unlike a lot of immune boosters, this is why I'm autoimmune, and this is why immune boosters can be really tricky for people who are autoimmune. Because for some people, it can kick them into overdrive or, it can be a little tough. But bee products and propolis specifically is an immunomodulatory agent. So similar to
adaptogenic.
It adapts to your body. So it's a great thing to introduce on a daily basis to help your body adapt to the stressors of everyday life. And something that I'm super proud of, we've talked a little bit about this, but we are the first company to standardize testing for our propolis. So all of our propolis, we're testing for 6 different bioactives: quercetin, apigenin, galgan, chrysin, pinosembrin, and pinobanskin. And so these are 6 different bioactives that do everything from, some of them have anti-cancerous effects. Some of them are incredible for inflammation. Almost all of them are incredible for immune support, immunomodulation. And so we're making sure that in every single, because the thing is when you're using these natural things, there's not really a gold standard. So we're continuously trying to create the gold standard for bee products and up-level our company and hold ourselves to that standard. And it's really cool to be able to be the first to do that.
That's amazing. Because just for people to know, like standardizing of tinctures luckily has happened, right? So there's a standardization of herbal tinctures that at least they're supposed to do it, right? And that's maybe questionable sometimes. But there's a standardization for tinctures of herbal products, et cetera. Not necessarily powders or things like that. But for you to then, again, to take something to where you're measuring a certain amount of each of these compounds, these 6 compounds that you want at a level to which you standardize and it's consistent, that then is like, is there anyone else even close doing that?
And those are only 6. There's over 300 compounds in Propolis that are incredible for your body. So it's
you at least zeroed in on 6.
We zeroed in on 6 of them that have unbelievable health effects. And so it's really cool to be able to do that. But one thing I do want to bring up, just because we talk so much about environment, and I think you and I are very lucky. We live in California. We get to have, I get to have access to people like you. We get to have these great conversations to understand what it takes to create an optimal environment, but not everyone has that. And during my pregnancy, environmentally, everything. I mean, I was in New York my whole first trimester and there was fires. So the air was like, don't go outside level of smoke. And that's where I was for work, and I was set up and I was living there. So there wasn't, much I could do. Then I finally come back to California, buy my first home, which I'm very excited about, only to find out that it was improperly constructed and covered in mold. And I had to rip out every single wall.
And that black mold is not
not okay.
Yeah.
And I'm pregnant. This is now my 2nd trimester, and I had to move out. I was living in different Airbnbs. So just the stress of all that. And so all that to say, I had not an optimal, I would love to have said that for my first pregnancy, I went to Spain and was just with my bees, and maybe a future pregnancy, that will be my situation. But that's not what happened for this first one. And I was exposed to a lot of smoke, mold, and a lot of stress. And then I was nervous about all of that because I know what these things do to our body. And then I'm living in Airbnbs where I can't control the environment. I can't use my non-toxic, non-off-gassing mattresses and, all of these things. I have none of my things. And I was able to, in spite of being in these environments, stay very healthy. And I was constantly testing throughout my pregnancy. And, I'm very blessed and feel very fortunate, but my daughter's super healthy. And I really believe that introducing these different bee products is how I was able to protect my system against all of these different environmental stressors. And that's why I feel that these things are really, really important for people, because we can't always control our environment. And sometimes we're in tough environments and we're not even aware of it. And so introducing these different tools to protect yourself and just support the body given the world we live in is really important.
Yeah, it's unfortunately we can't escape it. And because it's surrounding us, this modern world, and it can get worse in terms of a smoke, in terms of a black mold. It can acutely pile on, and unbeknownst to us, most of this stuff's invisible, right? So unless you're smelling the smoke and seeing the smoke, but all of the chemicals and all of these things, and like you said, we do our best to stay away, but there's only so much you can control.
Yeah.
So it's fortifying and using these ancient methods and in this case these bee products. So let's let's go into the colostrum of the bee world, the royal jelly. And so just so people understand the difference, because now it's super clear, the propolis, immune modulation, super powerful in that way. Then there's this kind of wildly different, it's so fascinating how they're kind of wild. All these things are almost
Very
wildly different, right?
Very,
So
very
it's
different.
like brain enhancement, BDNF, enhancement, like
So much.
you
I
know,
mean, you hit the nail on the head calling it the colostrum of the hive, because that is what royal jelly is. It's a secretion of the nurse bees, and it's fed to newborn baby bees. So all baby bees for the first 3 to 5 days of life are given colostrum, are given royal jelly.
Right.
And then the bee who's to become queen is given royal jelly, not just for the first 3 to 5 days, but for the entirety of her life. And it's really interesting because the queen bee develops very different from this exclusive royal jelly diet. A queen bee will live 3 to 5 years. If you people can just Google this, or it's on our Instagram, but you can see the queen bee versus a regular worker bee. The queen bee is much more robust. The queen bee will have, 1,500 babies a day versus a regular bee that doesn't have reproductive organs. So on a biological level, royal jelly is creating these profound changes for the bee itself. And then for humans, royal jelly, well studied for brain health. It's my favorite tool for focus, concentration, mental energy, memory. It's so powerful for that. It helps to promote brain-derived neutropic factor. And so it helps us to literally regenerate, create new neurons. It's unbelievable for people who have struggled with concussion, just for rehabbing the brain, for anybody who has a genetically has likelihood of neurological diseases. Royal jelly is really powerful to introduce. So it does so much for our brain. But royal jelly is also unbelievably protective for our whole body. For one, royal jelly for fertility. I think that is really interesting and exciting.
Ask that.
Yeah, so I used royal jelly. My husband and I always say that royal jelly got us pregnant because we were fully using it for that. In traditional Chinese medicine, for hundreds of years, royal jelly has been used for fertility for both men and women. There's a few studies. There's not as many as I wish there was, but there was actually a really cool study looking at men, and it found that consumption of royal jelly helped to improve, looking at the sperm, DNA maturation. Sorry, I'll repeat again. DNA maturation and all kinds of variables to help promote sperm health. And so it's a great thing to be taking. And then for women, I think it's just a really powerful, protective, nourishing substance.
Well, if people aren't putting 2 and 2 together right now from that, because we have, sperm that's dropping off the cliff, motility is going down in the next decade. 1 to 2 decades, they don't even think there'd be viable sperm that works anymore.
There was also a study done looking at female rats, and it found that consumption of royal jelly promoted follicular growth. So that's like, you need that to get pregnant.
Right.
So there's a lot of studies that are focused on animals, and it's looking at how royal jelly is actually really supportive for fertility for male and female species.
Yeah, so this is we're seeing the from a male perspective, I know handfuls of guys in their 30s going on hormone replacement, and like it's a little,
it's scary,
concerning, and obviously PCOS and fertility in women. It's like there's a fire here of our hormonal health that is, I think, such an alarm of massive proportion, because if you think about from a biological perspective, the only reason we're here is to move the race forward. Literally, biologically, like male, female get together, have offspring, and we continue.
Yep.
And that's falling off the cliff in our lifetime.
It's terrifying. I mean, the microplastics, the forever chemicals, it's impossible to get away from it all.
Yeah, the parabens and the phthalates and every beauty product, and like it's crazy. So, again, we can look at this stuff as, having spent a career in these things and seeing the miraculousness of something like this. When you look at royal jelly and propolis and pollen and all of these things, and you're seeing the complexity. And you're seeing the ability for us to consume those and have the benefit. That's where I'm like, the synergy, it's a miraculous thing that we can benefit so much from the vitamins and minerals and enzymes and complex compounds that are naturally within this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just find it so interesting that we bought into this idea that we still run to a doctor and get a pill or a shot over the base foundation of what we should be doing.
It's also, we're always looking for a Band-Aid versus how can we support the root of the cause, or, the root of the body. It's kind of a backward system. And I mean, it's starting to change with a focus on longevity, but it is a really backward system where we get sick and then we react to it versus supporting our body so that we never get to that vulnerable place. It's
Twilight Zone, man. I mean, it makes me it's like when you really stare at it and look at it.
Oh my God, I feel like I know too much. And I mean, I shared that story about my pregnancy because I am like level 10 crazy with this stuff. I am testing everything. Right. And I had all of these environmental factors that were completely out of my control go wrong. And I had to control what I could. And it's just the reality of the world today. And we all need to be fighting to clean up our environment and, broadly speaking, clean up the world so that there is a planet Earth that can grow things and function. Yeah. But there are tools that we can help to introduce to support ourselves given just all the exposures around us. And then we all really have to be on an individual mission to preserve this planet.
100%. And moms, it's like when I was writing my book, I was like, it was so clear, the neon sign of doing all of the research and diving down all of these rabbit holes. And I was like, moms are the gatekeepers, man. They are, listen, men are good for certain things, clearly, but the openness and the ability for the mom to protect as well as be open to the information is so necessary and controls that world of home.
Yeah.
Right? And when they know and they share it. And so that's really waking up the moms, I think, is that, and that necessary thing. Because again, you don't know this stuff until you look at it.
No, I mean, becoming a mom has been life-changing in every sphere, and it's the most incredible thing I've ever done. But I have a whole other level of drive to clean up kids' products, to make sure that there are accessible options for other parents out there. It's such a problem. I mean, study after study coming out about dextromethorphan and these ingredients in cough syrup and Robitussin and Flonase, like all of these things that people were told are tools to support their family and help them feel better are so toxic. These, we have our kids' lollipops that I'm so proud of, because if you look at most of the lollipops out there, they're full of cane sugar or artificial sweeteners and food dyes and all of these things. And so we came out with a lollipop that has propolis, zinc, vitamin D, no food dyes, no refined sugars, a really short, simple ingredient list. It's the lowest sugar lollipop that you could possibly get, made from unrefined sources. And it's really powerful for supporting kids' immune health. But yeah, I have a whole different drive to just clean up the medicine cabinet and create supplements and tools to help families stay well, because there's so much crap out there.
Yeah. Yeah, when you can't go once You can't go back in the box, that's for sure.
Totally.
I love that. And having built your company, you can now, direct it during towards certain things and finding other solutions. And that's the beautiful part of it. And then educating. You've always been such a great educator around this space. Touching on pollen. So now we have the third, and we'll touch on honey too, but the pollen being
Pollen's great.
Yeah.
I love pollen. So pollen is nature's multivitamin, so bioavailable. It's got more protein per weight than any animal source, full of branched chain amino acids. It's been shown to support endurance, support muscle formation, balance weight, things like that. Actually, really cool studies on propolis supporting healthy weight stabilization as well. But pollen is just a super nourishing and nutrient-dense tool. It's I use it as my multivitamin. I'm sprinkling it on my toast, on my smoothies. Really cool study came out, and it was done in rats, and they exposed rats to rat poison. And pollen is such a powerful hepatoprotective agent that it actually detoxed the liver. And the rats that also were given pollen were okay. So pollen is a great tool to support your body from, support and prevent damage from all of the toxins in our environment, all the while really nourishing your body.
I would hate to be the rats that
not a nice study.
God, that's just brutal. Right.
Yeah.
But that being said, like the power of nutrition, again, we're, the world flipped upside down. Like, this is exciting things. Like, this is ancient, but also with science always moving forward, we're able to find and look. Imagine if we drove all of the resources we use in other silly things, and we started to look at all of this, what nature has already done.
I mean, we could solve so many problems and support the earth while we're doing it.
Yeah, and people, and imagine that. But it's a fight worth fighting for. That's for sure.
It is.
And so now the powerful honey.
Honey.
Right?
So first of all, just a testament to bees generally. Honey is the only food on the planet that never expires.
Right.
It's those enzymes. The enzymes, and all of the bee products contain these enzymes, but the enzymes in bee products are so powerful. So think about digestive enzymes. Think about the things we're taking. Bee products are full of these enzymes that are so powerful for our digestive tract. And they all have that. But yeah, honey is the food that can never expire. It is full of antioxidants. It's the healthiest sweetener. It does not, honey is still sweet, but it doesn't spike your insulin in the same way as cane sugar or, definitely better than these artificial sweeteners. We don't want to even get into that. But honey is a really great alternative when it comes to sweetening your food. But it's so full of antioxidants. It has antiviral properties. It actually has a calmative effect on the body. It's really powerful for sleep. When you take honey, it allows this slow, steady spike in your insulin that allows the tryptophan in your body to cross the blood-brain barrier where it's converted into serotonin, then melatonin in the dark. So honey, a lot of biohackers talk about a teaspoon of honey before bed. And these are biohackers that are super low sugar, and they're still doing this because it's so powerful for that. The other thing that honey does to support sleep and hack sleep, it supports glycogen stores in the liver. So it helps to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. So a teaspoon of honey is really powerful for the body to help support sleep. And then again, the antioxidants in there, the antiviral properties, the live enzymes. There are so many reasons to introduce honey.
Is there so digestive, because I love enzymes. I've looked at enzymes because think of people, if they're listening to this, the enzymes are like the labor force of your body. Every interaction, enzymes have to be there in order to facilitate. So enzymes are always, especially from nature, they're always, do you know some of the enzymes that are involved? Are they systemic enzymes as well? Or are they mostly digestive, supportive, like
systemic enzymes?
Systemic, amazing. And that and when you have
and they're in propolis too. That's why Propolis is so powerful. I mean, we created our gut health formula with propolis for that reason. Our gut health formula, it contains propolis, and propolis kind of acts as the prebiotic, but then it has all of these other benefits for weight management, for things like leaky gut, candida, just supporting the digestive tract, fighting inflammation. And then we've got a spore-based probiotic and then a postbiotic in there as well. So we wanted to create something that addressed all layers of the microbiome.
That's amazing. Yeah, because when people get not only digestive enzymatic support, but systemic, that's such a systemic anti-inflammatory way to deal with pain and things like that. Yeah. So I love that. I didn't know that.
It's why all of these bee products have profound effects on the inflammatory pathways. So royal jelly, yes, it absolutely promotes focus, memory, concentration. You know, people on the internet I sound so old when I say that, but people on social media
on the internet
call royal jelly and a lot of like our brain fuel product, Nature's Adderall, for a reason. Royal jelly is really powerful, but it also helps with brain inflammation. And so that's why you're seeing these pro athletes who are having concussions or, exposed to these things. They're using royal jelly. And then there's actually studies that have found that royal jelly promotes spatial reasoning. So you see so many athletes that are using royal jelly before they have to compete.
Oh, wow. All right. Next time I have to compete or something, beat up my friends or something. So what do you think I'm going to shift gears here. So you've had this amazing run, this company, and you're constantly adding more things to it, which I love. And you've been in this space for a long time now. You've seen a lot of things that work and don't work. What do you think I kind of teeing you up for your own products, but what do you think are some 4 things people can do to live their super life?
So not to plug my own products, but I think stress is such a killer. Oxidative stress attacks our entire body. Yeah. And
where do you think most of that, just from your opinion, where do you think stress is mostly coming from right now?
I mean, I think we live in a hyper-competitive world, and I think we're still making sense of social media and this weird way of comparing our lives and projection and all of that. And things are sort of shared that we have access to information that we probably shouldn't, and we're living in this comparison lens. And I think that's really stressful for everyone. I think there's a lot of inequality and a lot of challenges in the world, and it's a challenging political environment. There's a lot of divisive things that are happening across the world, which is incredibly stressful. So, my just general belief is that we need a lot more unity, tolerance, and acceptance, which isn't all that profound, but that's my wish for the world. But I think it's a stressful time to be alive, and that stress is attacking our bodies, and we're seeing younger people with cancer and fertility problems, and we're seeing rates of all kinds of disease shooting up. And it's really important to introduce tools that are going to combat that oxidative stress. Propolis is one of them. Royal jelly as well. Royal jelly contains these fatty acids that are only naturally occurring in royal jelly that really protect our brain, in addition to helping with performance, but they're really protective. We talked about pollen and how it can help when exposed to toxins as a hepatoprotective agent to protect the liver. So I think just the wear and tear of the world today is really tough, and it's really important to protect yourself.
Yeah. Stress, I think, is that's a big one.
It's out of our control, and I mean that's why I shared the situation of my pregnancy, because I'm so type A. I'm constantly testing things. I am very fortunate. I get to talk to incredible practitioners. Our medical advisory board at Beekeepers is unbelievable. We have some of the best physicians, gastroenterologists, naturopaths, functional medicine doctors. We get to work all of our products. We work with an incredible team of doctors from all different spheres who are coming from, a different lens. And our goal is always, can we bring all of these people together and build a product that each one of them from their different schooling thinks is the best. Can our chief acupuncturist agree with our chief physician? And that's what we do. We're trying to make products that are truly the best, that are healing for the broadest demographic possible. But in all of that, I get to have access to so much information. And still, I'm in situations that are hard on my body that I can't control. I cannot control these external forces. So I do my best to control what I can and safeguard my health.
Yeah, I agree. I think that outer community, and like you've created a business where you've brought a community together for a common good, and then obviously your values within the company itself is a supportive network, right?
Yeah.
That alone, and I think community is still underappreciated in this world, and just to touch on the weird, strange world that we're in from the social media, and like it's we have to understand that, you know, these algorithmic kind of methodologies are built upon the divisiveness.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's built upon
consumerism is built upon this.
Yeah.
Like,
so we have to be, you know, we're all kind of victim to it all. But you know, if you have the awareness, at least you can maybe take some actions against it and try to create something better. And I think that's, you know, like you, I have amazing people that I get to meet every day that give me more and more hope, both acutely as well as big picture. And, you know, at least striving for a better world in the face of not complaining about it, but then just doing something different. You know, like we talked about the regulation side of things. The reality is that these regulation bodies do not have the same morals and ethics as your mother would.
No.
So if you have a mother, that you being one, who's running the company and is taking those morals and ethics within that company and acting like I'm not gonna consume these unless they're at these standards, so therefore none of my customers are. That to me that's hope, right? Because we know that people are consuming these are going to be healthier as a result. The bees are going to be healthy. I mean, people, you know, there's obviously the hardcore vegans out there, and I've been plant-based forever, but I don't support like almonds and almond butter and all, like it's destructive.
Oh, yeah, there's so many vegan foods that are so harmful. I have this conversation all the time, and especially because we're practicing regenerative beekeeping, we actually need there to be more demand for this kind of product, this level of care, for us to have this impact environmentally.
Yeah. So when you understand, when I've learned a lot from you and understanding how to do it correctly, it's like, of course I'm supporting that, you know, because it's a better world as a result. So what's next? What are you stoked about? What are you working on right now? What's the...
So I'm really excited about liposomal technology. I think it's so cool. You know, just to be able to create something that is more bioavailable. We're always testing for bioavailability. And liposomal is such a cool technology for anyone who isn't aware of it. It's a new way to basically take your vitamins and take your supplements. It mimics the cell structure. So you're basically ingesting something in a format that the body really recognizes, and it can be a little bit more targeted. And so we have our liposomal vitamin C and Propolis. I love that product so much. And we're going to be expanding our liposomal offering, which I'm very excited about.
Amazing.
And then kids products. Honestly, since becoming a mom, I've always cared about building tools for the whole family. But oh my God, it's a whole different level. And if I thought I was hyper vigilant, crazy about products and from body care to cleaning products to you name it, to your point, I'm a whole other level of mama bear now. And so cleaning up the medicine cabinet, cleaning up the supplement drawer for kids and for families is a very important mission for us.
Yeah, that's a good mission because you're combating, 50 years of industrialization.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I was talking to someone the other day about how the first thing you introduced to kids used to be baby cereal and how it was like the rise of Kellogg's and like, yeah, it's just there. So much of what we were told was healthy is not, and so much of what should be helpful and healthy is exposed to toxins, pesticides, pollutants that we want to protect ourselves from. So I'm on a major mission here to create products that people can trust, that are really impactful, and that will help people to live a longer, better, cleaner life.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I'm in. That's it's necessary, and I love that you're using your passion, your knowledge, and your company and your products to better the world. And it's necessary, and everyone should take a snapshot of that business model because I don't think there's a downside. It's hard work, right?
It's hard work. It's a lot of work.
You've worked your ass off for it, and it's not easy to create a business and hold to your values but you've done a great job, and
thank you.
I'm stoked for what you're doing, and I'm also excited for what you're going to do. Let that mama bear fly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carly. Cheers.